Do you ever wonder how successful entrepreneurs built their businesses from scratch? Are you unsure if starting a business is for you? Well, tune in as we discuss how successful entrepreneurs transformed their ideas into reality. Welcome back to From Zero to Revenue with your host, Chris Yap.
Welcome to the relaunch of our podcast show, From Zero to Revenue. The show features the journey of successful entrepreneurs around the world. I'm your host, Chris Yap. Really excited for today's episode. The last episode I did was 2020, December 2020.
Wow.
And I really wanted you to be the first guest of this relaunch. More than my business coach, you're a good friend. You're just an amazing human being. I'm just really excited to have you here. I'd like to thank our sponsor, GapTech Global, your staff augmentation partner for world-class talents. If you want to hire remote professionals faster while making more profits, please visit their website, gaptechglobal.com. I'm extremely excited to have you here, Chris.
I'm excited to be here.
Man, I look at you as the business growth guru, one of the kindest souls in the business community I've ever met in the entire world, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I'm just really excited to have you here, Chris. Chris Spear. He is an EOS Implementor. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here. Yeah, I love the opportunity to just sit down and talk. And you and I became friends. It's only been within the last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could tell when we met the first time that there was something different about what you're doing in your business, and got me excited. And it's been fun to get acquainted.
No, absolutely. And likewise, first time, when I met you at our EO training, I felt like an immediate connection there. But Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself, family, business. What's your advocacy? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty big topic.
Yeah, probably the whole episode, right?
Yeah. Let's see where to begin. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm a passionate entrepreneur, so you already hinted at that.
Yeah.
And what's coming up for me right now is I couldn't be a passionate entrepreneur if it weren't for my family and my supportive, smart, beautiful wife.
Amen to that.
Yeah, we've been married for 38 years, and she's been my entrepreneurial partner. Not so much in day-to-day business, but she's, isn't it amazing when you got a friend and a partner, how encouraging that can be to, think differently and figure things out. And she's always been a great support to me.
That's amazing, man. I'm with you on that. I'm 100% the same. I tell my friends, they look at me like this big building, successful person. I tell them, if you look at the tallest building, Burj Khalifa, it's tall. It's amazing.
I've been up in the Burj Khalifa.
Oh, good for you. But I tell them that you don't realize that if Burj Khalifa is that tall, it's also the foundation is more important. That's my wife right there. You don't see her in the day-to-day, but if not for her, Burj Khalifa wouldn't be standing. So I'm with you with that on that. I'm 100%.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for me and why I think I'm passionate about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, which it goes back a long ways. I think it was kind of in my blood from my youth. I could see my grandfather as an entrepreneur, and he had a little manufacturing business, and was doing entrepreneurial things. And I kind of started to get a flavor for oh, what does that look like? It's kind of this amazing blend of passion and creativity and courage and trying new things and learning new things. And I think the reason that I love it so much is that really it's the outcome that you can achieve as an entrepreneur, which is freedom.
100%.
And so I'm a big fan of freedom.
Yes.
You know?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you're an EOS implementer.
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk about that for our audience who's not familiar, and I'll share my experience with it. But tell us a little bit about the EOS, how you got into it, and what problems are you guys solving with that?
Sure. Yeah, it's been a great part of my entrepreneurial journey to become an EOS coach, EOS implementer.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I was not aware of EOS until about 7 years ago.
Mm.
And so I had already had a fair journey in my entrepreneurial life when I discovered EOS, but a lot of my entrepreneurial journey was a lot of the things that I love about EOS. It was figuring out over time, how do you do strategic planning, and how do you develop a culture with a team and an organization that helps you to go and achieve your objectives. And I guess to keep the story short, after a lot of entrepreneurial things, from running my own car detailing business that financed my college education, to starting and selling a software company to a publicly traded software company, leading teams. And when I discovered entrepreneurial operating system, I had this feeling like, wow, where has this been all my life?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you the thing that feels distinctive to me about entrepreneurial operating system is it's the tools. I think there are a lot of wise things that we've learned for decades from smart people who look at business and figure out what makes a business successful. I'm thinking back to people like Michael Gerber or Vern Harnish. He wrote a book called Scaling Up, and Michael Gerber's E-Myth. And then you've got Jim Collins.
Yeah, Good to Great.
And Good to Great. Before that was Built to Last. And I was reading Built to Last back in the 90s, trying to figure out, well, how do I build a company that's going to be a great company?
Right.
And learning, gleaning, all kinds of stuff along the way. So to make the point, when I got to EOS, it was like all of these great things I had learned before were finally kind of crystallized into a system that showed me as an entrepreneur and shows entrepreneurs what to do and when to do it. And, I think you learn that over time as you're running your own entrepreneurial business, but to have it kind of succinctly wrapped up in a system of tools and disciplines so that you can have everybody in your organization on the same page about how are we going to operate this business?
Yes.
And how are we going to be accountable for all the different functions of our business, and getting clear about who does what? Yeah,
100%. And we've only been, obviously, for our audience, Chris is actually our EOS implementer. He is our business coach. So we've only been implementing EOS for about a month now.
Yeah, month and a half.
But I can tell you the effect, we're already feeling it. It's almost overnight. And the reason being is you mentioned earlier, it's like now you have a framework of like everyone moving towards the same direction at the same pace. So now, since we started implementing L10, we feel like, because before we feel like everyone's rowing, but not in the same cadence and not the same direction.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you're working hard, but you're not really getting far because the other side of the boat is rowing the other way or not the same cadence. But now, really, almost immediately, the culture, we already have a pretty good culture, but the culture enhanced because now we have clarity where we're going and how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
And then the L10s, it's like everyone's on the same page and everyone's doing the meetings and what we got to do in the same way as everyone else is doing it.
Right.
The weekly L10, that was just a game changer. Aside from that, the vision session that we just did a few weeks ago in your office in Phoenix. Oh my God, that was a game changer. Like people were already excited before, but now they just felt like, okay, before they want to hit like 1,000 people, FTE is our goal.
Yeah.
That was a dream. Now it feels like we can see it in the horizon. We know how to get there because we feel like we found the right way. We have the right cadence to get there. And so, like what you said, it's like what we realize is, why didn't we do this? Like, how come we just found out about this just now? But it's amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, as you're talking, it's really bringing up for me, Chris, something that I've gotten much more clear about over the 6 years almost that I've been working on being an EOS implementer and coach. And it's this idea that EOS is about managing human energy.
Mm.
So on the surface, you look at EOS and it looks like, oh yeah, EOS is a business operating system.
Mm.
And we can, look at it and we see tools and disciplines and we have level 10 meetings.
Mm-hmm.
But the magical thing that is happening when all of these tools and disciplines come together is that human energy is getting channeled in a certain direction.
You're right. No, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, that really doesn't quite describe it, but it's electric. I mean, you can feel it, and you can feel the difference when your team is excited and enthused about the vision. When they can feel it, you can feel it.
Mm.
And
absolutely.
It's the difference between feeling like you're pushing the team to go do something, and
100%.
On the other hand, feeling like your team is right there by your side, helping you to pull it where all of you know that it wants to go.
Oh my God, that's exactly how we feel now. Because before it's like, well, everyone's kind of clear on our mission, but we weren't, at least for me, we weren't really sure can we really hit that goal.
Yeah.
But now it's like I don't have to push everyone, especially my core team, because they're pushing with me.
Right.
I don't have to like say, do this, do that. They just get it done. Now it's not just me who have the foresight, because we're clear now on how we're going to do things and we see our main goal in the horizon. Everyone acts like they have foresight.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think the good thing for you, Chris, is you have a pretty strong team that you had assembled before.
Appreciate that.
We started working on it, and I'll just mention that sometimes it takes a team a while to figure out how to get the right people in the right seats. And when that happens, I just encourage teams to be patient and keep working on it and trust the process of what it really looks like to get a right person in the right seat in your organization.
For sure. Now, Chris, you've seen, obviously you work with a lot of business owners. Your business yourself, before EOS you had your own several businesses. You had the software company. But what kind of business challenges or personal challenges you've encountered along the way, and how were you able to kind of manage that? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs who face a challenge and they fold.
Yeah.
But we know that's inevitable. Challenges, life, it's gonna happen.
Right.
So if you can share with us, like, what were some of your challenges in your entrepreneurial journey, and how you manage them, and get you to where you are today.
Sure. Well, I mean, like every entrepreneur, I'm sure everybody who's listening to this is thinking about real challenges that they face. One that comes up specifically for me is an afternoon in software company that I was running with my partner, Rick. And, tomorrow is payday. And we've got 11 other people on the payroll. And we're trying to figure out how we're going to make payroll tomorrow.
I'm very familiar with that.
And I remember walking around in the parking lot, with my partner Rick, and it was like we were both feeling a little bit down about it. But then my partner Rick turned to me and he said, "Well, you know what, Chris? What's the worst thing that could happen tomorrow?" And I thought about that for a minute, and then he said, I bet you that whatever happens tomorrow is probably not going to kill us. And, as silly as that sounds, that kind of snapped me out of it and got me thinking about, I'm still going to be alive tomorrow, and I'm still going to be an active participant in figuring out how to make this work. And we did. And we figured out how to make that work and how to make payroll. But what do I see? It's that kind of stuff. It's and you hit it right on the head. I mean, every time businesses grow, you inevitably hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty common. We actually call it that deliberately in entrepreneurial operating system, and we expect that people are going to hit a ceiling. I might not be growing as fast as my seat, or a department's going to hit a ceiling, or the whole business is going to hit a ceiling. A ceiling like, we're just not reaching as many prospects or clients as fast as we'd like to grow the business. I think the thing that you asked, well, how do you overcome those frustrations where it feels like the business is out of your control a little bit? And I think what we learn to do over time is embrace that feeling and actually celebrate moments when we recognize that we're hitting a ceiling, because
it's growth.
When you hit the ceiling, you know that you're growing.
Yeah.
And when you hit the ceiling, you know that you're going to innovate to figure out what the next step is. And so now I get excited about it because I know hitting the ceiling means we're going to add on to our innovation stack. I'm trying to remember the name of the book. Maybe we could put it in show notes or something.
Yes, for sure.
But, that was a concept that I really liked in a book I've read over the last year or two about how great it is to face challenges and innovate, because you're going to innovate like nobody else, none of your competitors. And that innovation is going to differentiate you from your competitors.
100%.
And it's going to make it so that when you figure out how to go do something, that innovation is something that can't be easily copied by somebody else. And so that's what I love about EOS is we have an innovation session every week.
Mm-hmm.
We don't call it that. You refer to the L10 or the
Mm-hmm.
level 10 meeting,
Mm-hmm.
but we spend 60 minutes of a 90-minute meeting
Mm-hmm.
looking at our issues, looking at places where we're hitting the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
and beginning our innovation process to figure those things out. We're literally recrafting key elements of our business when we meet in that level 10 meeting every week.
Oh, I love it. Awesome. Now, Chris, you mentioned earlier, and this really got stuck to me because I think about the same. What attracted you the most, at least it seemed like from what I heard today, is that about entrepreneurship is the freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I think, some of us kind of got started in entrepreneurship with maybe a little bit of a naive notion of what freedom is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's like, oh man, I'm frustrated. I can't work for a boss anymore.
Yes.
I'm gonna go be free.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's freedom, but it's on the other side of a lot of hard work.
It's not immediate.
Right. And so, I love the way Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach talks about freedom. He talks about gaining your freedom of time.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about that a lot in Entrepreneurial Operating System. We say that when you're using the tools and the disciplines and strengthening your business, you get to live the EOS life, which is you're free to work with the kind of people you want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the ability to go work on things that really matter to you. You're free to, sometimes we think freedom is freedom from, but when you've got the choice and the freedom to work with the people that you love and do the things that you love, and the freedom to go and make a difference in the world in something that you're passionate about, then, you're free to go and create value. And you're free to receive, I think Dave Ramsey calls dollar bills certificates of appreciation. A dollar bill is a certificate of appreciation. So when I render great service and great value, people will give me certificates of appreciation. It's like, we appreciate the value that you're bringing. So here's the point on that is you are free to provide value, and you're free to receive certificates of appreciation for the value that you're giving.
That's amazing. I love it. Now that I listened to Dave Ramsey, but that's the first time I heard of that. But I'm gonna keep saying that to my kids too.
Yeah.
And I have a similar kind of principle around that, which is success follows significance. What I mean by that is when you do something significant to people, companies, something impactful, money really follows. And I tell my kids, don't ever chase money. Let money chase you.
Yeah.
And it will happen if you're providing value. So, but your point on the freedom on being able just to have the choice to work with the people you want, to do the things you love, that's important to you. I'd say that's one of the biggest benefit of being an entrepreneur. But like you said, it's not overnight. It doesn't happen right away. You gotta, I remember 14 hours, 18 hours a day work when I was starting Captech Global.
Yeah.
But when we started making money and I had the right people, process, and systems, that's when I started enjoying the freedom. Like now, this is funny. One of my goals, one of my reasons why I want to be a successful entrepreneur is because I want to be able to eat sushi anytime I want.
Right.
Because it's expensive, right?
Yeah.
But now, to me, I really relate to that as part of the freedom. And it's it's an amazing feeling. And the other thing is, I have relatives in the Philippines who need help financially.
Yeah.
I love to help. So I give, and the feeling of being able to do that, it's so amazing.
Right.
That's, to me, that's freedom. Because imagine if you didn't have that freedom, you don't have the resources, it wouldn't feel great to do, not to be able to do what you want to do. So,
yeah, to do what you want to do, I think is a key.
Mhm.
And I think when you build a business that can be, here's another Dan Sullivan term. He talks about the idea of building a self-managing company.
Right.
And who doesn't want a self-managing company? But you got to do a little bit of work to go make your self-managing company.
Right.
And on the other side of that, when you do, you got freedom of time that allows you the space to go do other things that you're passionate about besides 14 or 18 hours a day, trying to hold it all together.
Yeah.
And I've seen that in my journey, even over the last few years. I'm passionate about being in the outdoors.
Right? Yes, I know.
And so, one of my passions is to go climb mountains in Colorado. And I've been able to pay a little bit more attention to that and actually take people along with me, and we have fun and we learn things together when we're climbing big mountains in Colorado. So I have the freedom and the opportunity to go do some of those other things that I love to do when things are running right in my business.
Absolutely. And by the way, I look forward to doing that with you next year.
Yeah.
We are definitely doing that with you next year. So, and you're right. It's, I can't stress enough, the value or the benefit of freedom when you cross over that journey of entrepreneurship. Now, Chris, after you sold your company, the first company, software, I know you worked for other companies to basically on the growth or revenue or sales and operation side. And obviously, you've been an entrepreneur all your life. And you've seen the difference because you've done both. You've been an employee, you've been an entrepreneur. Do you think entrepreneurship is for everyone?
No.
Yes, I agree.
I don't think entrepreneurship is for everyone.
Right.
I think you gotta. We talk an entrepreneurial operating system about GWC. Do you get it? Do you want it? Do you have the capacity?
Yes.
I think you've got to GWC the role of an entrepreneur. And when we talk about get it, we talk about, are you wired to be able to do a role? And I think some people are wired to be entrepreneurs. I think if you're wired to have a certain degree of risk tolerance, and if you're wired to be able to deal with ambiguity, and if you're wired to be able to take a step forward even when you don't know exactly how things are going to turn out, I think that's what it takes to get it in the entrepreneurial seat. You got to want it. You got to want the freedom. You got to want the excitement and the challenge of continuous learning and growth and overcoming challenges and pain. And you got to have the capacity to stick with it and have the grit to believe in your ideas. And you got to have the grit to go learn from other people beside yourself. I think that's been a big entrepreneurial lesson for me is, when you first thought of your first entrepreneurial idea, and there's a tendency to want to keep it to yourself because you don't want to, risk having somebody steal it from you or I think what's really going on is you don't want to risk putting it out there in the world and then having to have the guts to go do what you think you could do. I think there's a little bit of fear you got to overcome when you're going to go do something entrepreneurial.
So I love how you framed it. And that's why I believe too that entrepreneurship is not for everyone, because there are two big factors that not everyone's able to manage or withstand, which is, like you said, the risk and the ambiguity.
Yeah.
Because, entrepreneurship, I saw this in a magazine. It says entrepreneurship, the definition of entrepreneurship is like jumping off a cliff and building a parachute as you go down.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so true.
Yeah, that captures the emotion.
It does, right? Because you have an idea and you're trying to convert that idea into reality. But since it doesn't exist, you're going to have to create your path, the tools, how to get there.
Yeah.
And to me, that's exciting. And for us entrepreneurs, that's the exciting part. But for many, it's scary.
Right.
Right. So you're right. You need to be able to have a pretty good level of tolerance for risk and ambiguity.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of audience who are, entrepreneurs and wanting to become entrepreneurs. What would you say would your advice be for those who want to become entrepreneurs and for those who are maybe struggling with their business? What are your, words of advice for them?
Oh, there's so many things I could say, but here's what's coming up for me is in order to be an entrepreneur, you've got to go sell something.
Yes.
And, that's really the first step. I think to be an entrepreneur, you've got to understand who your customer is. And the only way to understand who your customer is to go sell something to them. They're going to help you to understand what you've got that's of value. They're going to help you to understand how to tweak what you've got to make it of more value. And so there's just kind of this term, you've got to get out of the building. You can't sit in your office or your den at home at night and come up with all your plans. You've got to get out of the building and go see people and go talk to people. And you got to open your mouth and put your ideas out there and see what resonates with people and go sell stuff. And go sell stuff before you've got it ready to sell.
No, I love it. There's actually a book that I read that's kind of related to what you just said. I believe it's called Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yeah.
I can't remember the author's name, but man, I love that book. It's exactly what you said. You got to find something to sell. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
It's be good enough, but you just got to get out of the building, do it, and then refine it. But
yeah, I think that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
Every business has got to sell something.
That's right.
And I think especially for the founder who wants to grow a business and keep control of the business. I kind of went through many years between the 90s and the mid 2000s and beyond, where remember back then we were going through the .com boom. And people were just doing web and internet ideas and writing a business plan and getting funded and going and getting venture funding and stuff like that. And that's not a bad way to go and take a really smart idea and go make it big. But sometimes you can do better as a practical founder. by, building on your own innovation stack, bootstrapping a little bit along the way, and retaining control of your organization, so that you don't have somebody else with the purse strings pushing you around or distracting you, and you can stay focused on your customer and what's next and what's the right thing for your customer, so you can keep on doing what you love to do as an entrepreneur, which is be innovative and grow and not figuring out how to work with a new board of your company who you got to answer to from a financial standpoint.
No, absolutely. Well, Chris, we are at the end of our show here, and this has been an amazing show. It's like there's so much nuggets here that I got, and I believe our audience got today, like from the EOS, your experience, your journey as an entrepreneur, the words of wisdom you shared about the benefits and the value of entrepreneurship. What's the best way to learn more about EOS, about you? Mind sharing your website, contact information? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people here who want to grow their businesses. And guys, I don't know what else to say. Can't say anything more about Chris. Can really help you guys get there. So please share your contact information.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I love to do that. My website is chris-spear.com.
Yes.
And so that, and from there you can link to my EOS website and learn a little bit more about what I do in my EOS practice. But all my contact information is right there at chris-spear.com.
Yeah, and we will have that information in the notes as well. Well, thanks again, Chris, for being in the show here. It's such an honor to have you here. So we are at the end of the episode. Thanks again for being here. I'm your host, Chris Yap, and I'd like to thank again our sponsor, YapTech Global, your staff augmentation partner. So if you're looking to hire remote professionals faster and more affordable, please visit their website at yaptechglobal.com.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of From Zero to Revenue with your host, Chris Yap. If you've enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.